What up, good people? We are back coming in live on a beautiful Thursday night here in frigid Cleveland, Ohio. The commies are invading Detroit. Is Notre Dame likable? How much can Drew do in 2 minutes? Hey, find out next.
It's the worst.
Beyond the Texans?
Yes.
Giants?
Yes.
What up, good people? We are back. My name is Jeremy. That's my boy Drew, wearing the Lions NFC North Champions hat on this beautiful Thursday night. Getting ready for the commies to invade Detroit. Brother, how you doing tonight?
Doing great, man. It's good to be back. Good to see you. How are things your way?
Bro, I can't complain other than the fact that I'm freezing. It is cold outside.
It sucks outside, dude. And I bitch, but like I don't even have to drive anywhere, so but it's still cold.
You got to go outside, right?
I got to take kids to the bus stop, but I've started.
There you go.
Heating the van and driving, and it's like 3 houses down.
Well, okay, I was going to say, how far are we talking? 3 houses down?
Literally 3 houses down.
It's for the kids, man. I got to keep the kids warm. They're little.
It's like
we know it's for you.
I'm like, fuck. All right.
It's terrible when it's this cold. Let's get into the show. We're going to start out with a new segment to get us talking about random stuff. It's called the Drew Minute Drill. And let's see if it popped up this time. Let's go into this. I am going to read off a whole bunch of questions. In about 2 minutes, Drew is going to answer them. Quick, short, simple, and we'll talk about some headlines, and we'll get into the rest of the show. Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. We got music for you.
Oh, music.
Yeah, baby. We're going big time. Anyway, Drew, where does Cam Scatterbo's CFP game rank in all CFP lore?
Top 10.
Who's the MVP of the NFL this year?
Josh Allen.
James Franklin passed the can't win the big game moniker?
No.
Who's the best quarterback in this draft?
Cam Ward.
Is he the number one pick?
No.
Quinn Ewers got offered $8 million allegedly to stay in college, but he's going to the draft. Do you believe he got offered $8 million?
No.
Who coaches the Cowboys next year?
Dion.
Is NIL killing the lower rounds of the draft?
Yes. Fuck NIL. Respect.
Why would Ben Johnson take the Raiders job?
Power.
Is Notre Dame likable?
No.
Is Brady getting better as an analyst?
Yes. Yeah.
Who's the best analyst in the NFL right now?
Greg Olson.
Travis Hunter, cornerback or wide receiver?
Corner.
And what is the worst head coaching job out there right now?
Bears.
The Bears. That was a Drew Minute Drill.
That was a bad. That team has a lot of upside. I panicked. I shouldn't have picked the Bears, but that's what I picked.
But they haven't been good in forever, and that's a great part of this segment. Is it led us right into this? I asked you why take over the Raiders for Ben Johnson. It was this whole, hey, he's not going to take a job until he's got one that's really perfect for him, and then the Raiders are the one that allegedly seems to be the one he's looking at. And you said power, but does he get to pick his own GM? Is he bringing John Dorsey or someone who's in the Lions front office now, or him and Tom Brady working hand in hand? What is going on there?
I don't think that he's going to bring in his own guy as a head coach, clearly, but I think that we see a lot of the times where the GM comes in and it just doesn't quite work like this. I think that they can get two guys that see eye to eye as far as philosophy and the way it's going to move forward. Everybody's like, look at the Dallas job. It's like the Dallas job. Jerry Jones he's a psycho. He's a crazy person. So that's not something you want to be below as a head coach. And I know everybody loves Cowboys, but to me, I think with the Raiders, they have the ability to kind of coincide with the GM and the head coach they want and how to go from there.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. Plus, they're basically a blank canvas on offense. You can get your own quarterback, put in your own running backs. They got Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. On the defensive side of the ball, they got some nice players alongside Max Crosby, but nothing special. There's a
Ben
lot
Johnson,
to there.
Brock Bowers, though. I feel like Brock Bowers.
You think Brock was good this year?
Yeah,
be exactly. Twice as good. God damn, my Cavs are getting killed at halftime in OKC.
I hate that.
75 to 52.
I really hate that for them. That's the first time all year that's been the case. I mean,
I couldn't believe that. Like, it came across my phone. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to read this. And I saw 75 and then 5 in front of the other one. Not good. Yeah, the Cowboys' job. Like, there's talk that Dion takes it. Maybe because Dion's the only one crazy enough to do it, and maybe because he can actually stand up to Jerry Jones, who basically screwed over Mike McCarthy. Yeah. And then screwed over Cooper Rush. Like, I didn't know we had $500,000 riding on that. Go ahead.
Can I say something real quick about the Cowboys situation? Do you remember last
year? There you go. Jerry Jones is blocking what he's going to say. This is what he did to Dallas radio. He offered to fire guys, and now he's not letting Drew talk. Drew, are you back? You're not back. Jerry got you.
No, I'm back. I'm so back. All right, I'm so back.
I thought Jerry had you. I was starting to get worried.
I got excited. I hit my microphone and unhooked me or something. Here's the deal. Do you remember last year when they held out the entire free agency to sign CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott? That was, they held out the entire offseason, which they didn't make any aggressive moves at all. So you kind of screwed yourself all last season. And then you come in this season and teams are asking to hire Mike McCarthy, who you're kind of have out on a puppet string right now. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can stay, maybe you're going to go, and you're declining in interviews, and then you screw him that way. However, the beauty of this whole thing is they waited so long, they screwed themselves out. They're the last Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn interview, right? All the other teams got to it before this round, and so it's just Jerry has no clue what he's doing over there. And it's like that. Again, you take that job and you have that standing over you at all times, and the constant he wants his hands and his imprint on the team. That's a difficult situation to jump into.
It is. And I don't know if that's a job that a lot of people are going to want. It's going to end up being like Kellen Moore because he's been there. It's going to be a Jason Garrett similar situation where you're going to get a lot of 8-8. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't see Ben Johnson wanting that job. I don't see Aaron Glenn wanting to put up with that when he could go to – I hope he goes to New Orleans. I hope he doesn't take the Jets job. I know there's talk he's going to take the Jets job. The Woody Johnson, Brick Johnson situation, I hate to see that happen to anyone really. But there's still a chance you might not lose your guys. Who knows how this ends up? We shall see. But yeah, the Bears job, I think if I'm the Bears, I go after Big Mike. I feel like you get the adult in the room.
You need an adult in the room.
He took that Cowboys team, which I thought was dead in the water, and they won 8 games, maybe 9 games. I don't even remember what it is. And the talk of Dion coming and then trading Dak to get Shador, that's $103 million cap hit, which they can't do.
It's not realistic, but it's fun.
If he's going to get one of his kids, it's going to be like Shiloh in the 6th round. Cool. Shiloh might be a solid player, might be a good special teamer. He might eventually work his way into a starting lineup, but that's not something we can really see happening. And if Dion's offered that job, I can see Dion taking it. I mean, you look at what they did this year, where they were the top half of the Big 12 with the 2 players who could go top 10 in the NFL draft. What are they without those guys?
See, okay.
A top 40 team?
Fair. Okay, one was his son.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Travis Hunter. But, here's the deal. His glamour was college in recruiting to come play for Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Right? That was the glamour. You're going to the NFL where it doesn't work like that. You can't recruit guys off the couch to come play for Deion Sanders. No, you are just who you are. You free agency. You hope guys want to come play for you, but it's completely different in college. College, he could influence people to come play for him. In the NFL, it doesn't work like that. I don't know his X's and O's are elite from any set and imagine. I mean, are we going to think his X's and O's and we're going to translate to the professional football? That would be an insane hiring, but I'm so here for it because I want to see it.
I mean, I think it could work out. I think Dion sees it as he's a CEO where he hires probably Mike Zimmer stays. He's got a history with Mike Zimmer. And then his offense coordinator will be crucial depending on who he gets. And then as far as X's and O's, I think he's going to leave that a lot to the coordinators. He's going to run the football team. And will guys come to just play under Dion? Absolutely. But there's also guys who are going to be like, man, I don't want to mess with Jerry. He wouldn't even let Cooper Rush get a $500,000 bonus. That's a big deal for a backup quarterback like that. I think the way he did Cooper Rush was just absolutely wrong. Let's move on. Let's go on to you, me, and the CFP while we're talking college football with Deion Sanders. Has the 12-team playoff helped or hurt or kept bowl season about the same in your eyes?
Helped. I mean, it depends on, like, for a person like me that loves college football and wants more college football, it's been fantastic. Mm-hmm. And everybody can say, oh, there's, complete, blowouts. Look at Arizona State and Texas. If you would have pinned Arizona State playing Texas, most people would be like, oh, Texas wins by 3 touchdowns. Like, there's been some drama. There's been some good games. I think it's been fantastic. And more football is always good football. But that could also just be me personally. Like, ratings may say maybe it's not, but, like, give me more football, and I'm going to take it.
I'm with you. And I think the fact that we had the 12-team playoff meant there were more of these bowl games that really, really mattered. With less people opting out. We've seen people opt out of the Rose Bowl of late. We've seen people opt out of the bigger bowls that these schools are supposed to go to, and everyone is supposed to be like, oh, thank you so much for inviting us to the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, which isn't.
They get that nice anymore. Little like gift package in their hotel room and stuff. Yeah.
Which was fantastic. But now you got guys opting out. This made more teams relevant. And the Arizona State story was phenomenal because this was a team that was expected to finish dead last.
Yeah.
Dead last. And they not only did they make it to the playoff, they got a bye, and they should have beat Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a fantastic game. Cam Scatabo was phenomenal.
The 4th down throw. I mean, you can't get beat deep. Like, can't get beat deep.
And that's a credit to Quinn Ewers, who this draft season, you're going to hear so much up and down on Quinn Ewers. And that's one of the things he does where you're like, wow, that kid could be really special. Calling that play at the line, switching it up.
There's so much stuff. You didn't hear any players holding out of the playoff.
No.
Everybody was lining up and ready to go.
Exactly. And 12 more teams made it perfect, or 8 more teams as opposed to the 14, getting all their players in, letting fans who maybe aren't paying as much attention as you and I, letting them see them in the spotlight, seeing players like Tyler Warren, Scatabo. I can't think of the quarterback for Arizona State right now, Sam something. It's skipping my mind. But the kid is phenomenal. He's only a sophomore. You're seeing players like, Matthew Gold, Isaiah Bond, all the Ohio State skill players. The fact that Jack Sawyer, who people just saw as the whiny bitch who cried after the Michigan game, but then wanted to fight everyone, you got to see him actually ball out and see what kind of player he was. So many great stories coming out of this. I think it's been absolutely great. Drew, what team surprised you?
Over the entire college football playoff?
Over the college football playoff.
Arizona State.
I figured that's what it would be.
You just don't expect that from that. To your point that you mentioned earlier, like they were supposed to be bad. Like they were supposed to be really bad. And then for them to get out in the college football playoff and play Texas and do what they did. And I know Scatabo is a fantastic back, and we all respect that and get that. But like, you're not just gonna run your way to a win. Like they matched up defensively what they did against Texas. I know there was a lot of points scored, but you're talking about being overpowered athletically from a talent level. I mean, Texas and Arizona State, there's a completely different talent level, and that's why like college football is great because that team on that day stood up and played their ass off. I know they lost, but like tip of the cap to him and that program.
Yeah, on paper, star-wise, athlete-wise, high school ranking-wise, that should not have been a close game, but Arizona State, credit to them. What team let you down?
Georgia.
I guess for me, it was Oregon.
Yeah, well, and I can see Oregon too. The thing I would say about Oregon, it's tough to play the team twice, right? It really is, because you kind of coaches, of course, adjust over the year, but like you play a team twice and the first game was really tight. But yeah, Oregon's definitely that. But for Georgia, to be the champs and then come out and they just weren't very good. So
Yeah.
I would say Georgia.
The fact that Georgia wide receivers couldn't catch football.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're right.
The most athletic, fast dudes ever with terrible hands.
Sometimes the stage is bigger than you know what I mean? Like, that's just the way it is sometimes, man.
I mean, Gunnar Stockton surprised me in that game. Like, he kept his moxie for his first start, CFP. Like, he played okay football. Like, if he gets one block from a left tackle who let him down and one catch from a wide open wide receiver, that's a totally different game.
And for a guy being thrown into that game,
mm-hmm.
you need the guys to pick you up like that. Those are the catches that need to be made. Like, you're basically thrusting this guy into the biggest game of his life immediately when you've had Carson Beck playing all year, and it's like you need some of those first downs. You need the less drops, and it's unfortunate. But Georgia.
Speaking of Carson Beck, what do you think about him going to Miami for an alleged $4 million?
He sucks. One. And I think he's dating one of those blonde chicks.
Hannah Cavender.
Basketball. Yeah. So, and he's getting $4 million to go to Miami. What do you think, dude? That shit sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah. I get that. And there's so many people saying, well, it's more than what you get in the draft. No, maybe on a yearly basis, but if he's a second rounder, you throw in that signing bonus, he's going to make more.
He wasn't going to be a second rounder, though.
I don't think so either. But there are legitimate draft gurus who I really like who are saying that this kid could be a first rounder next year. I have not seen that yet. I don't get the Carson Beck whole thing.
It's also hard to go from like being on a team with the best skill position players. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this team is built around him, like studs everywhere. So you're telling me that he's going to transfer to Miami, which is, to me, a fraudulent team in college football this year. They've won every single game at the last second. So, like, yeah, you're not going to tell me that he's going to walk in there and just all of a sudden be great. Like, you're leaving the best, like, situation you possibly could have in Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, his numbers went down this year, but we already said it. Like, their wide receivers couldn't catch. He looked really good last year, but you had Ladd McConkey, who showed out last weekend, showed how good he is, and Brock Bowers, who had possibly the greatest rookie tight end season ever and was only getting better towards the end of the season. Yeah. You can look really good when you're throwing to those guys. I mean, Will Howard came into the season as a guy who's not going to get drafted, possibly, to now people are talking about him fifth, fourth, somewhere in that later to early day
Ladd
3.
McConkey, by the way. God bless Ladd McConkey.
Ladd McConkey was phenomenal. The catch he made going up over two dudes and then taking off. It was a white boy running away.
That won me some dollar bills. So we respect Ladd. Hope he has a happy new year.
Good for Ladd. What a kind little lad he is. Yeah, I mean, this CFP has been great. Let's get into the most important part of the CFP, and that is the national championship game. It is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who I know you said they're not likable at this point, but this is the most likable team I've ever seen for the Notre Dame, because I hate Notre Dame as much as you do. It's just maybe it's the Marcus Freeman thing. Maybe it's the fact that there's a bunch of decent humans. Maybe it's that against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, no shade on this. We're going to be 100% honest. Buckeyes fan here. Kid named after the Buckeyes. But let me ask you something. Buckeyes are 8.5-point favorites.
Does
Notre Dame stand a chance in this game?
Yeah. They sure do. Here's the deal. I think that Notre Dame is likable because they seem like. Here's the deal. My Notre Dame hate is not on a specific Notre Dame team, a college football player that may play for them. This is a entirety of hating Notre Dame. So Riley Leonard and all you boys, like, it's no disrespect to you. I think that they're a somewhat likable team. If you're a God person, they're praying like Ohio State's praying. Like I respect that. I appreciate that kind of stuff. This game really comes down to the trenches to me, and I just think that Ohio State just has too much power up front. What they're going to want to do, and you and I talk about all the time, where Riley Leonard's going to want to move and make plays with his feet. And if they can't do that, you force him to throw, and that becomes a difficult situation.
You're 100% right, but Notre Dame wants to muddy this game up. They're going to look at what Nebraska did against Ohio State. They're going to look at what Michigan did against Ohio State. And coming into this, I thought Notre Dame was going to be the worst matchup for the Buckeyes one-on-one. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I also just don't think that this team is that team. This Ohio State team right now is not the team playing Nebraska. Losing to Michigan pissed this team off.
Yeah.
This team is pissed off, and they've shown that they've been. And listen, I know the Texas game is close, but like this is a pissed off team, and I know that you can say that they want to mucky it up and things like that, but man, Ohio State's front, it's not going to be easy to run for first down. So buckle up.
It is not going to be easy for them, and that's an offensive line that is hurting. You don't know who's playing left tackle right now. You don't know if you're moving your guard outside. Don't know if he's staying inside. Not sure what you're doing there. Jeremiah Love is banged up still. Yeah, he had that amazing run last week against Penn State, but he's still banged up. You're going to count on – you're not going to get to your wide receivers. They struggle. They play man defense more than any team. I think they're number 2 in the country in playing man.
Yeah. The
teams that play man against the Buckeyes, they struggle. You're going to bracket Jeremiah Smith, probably move Xavier Watson over there.
And that's the other thing with the Buckeyes too, Jeremy, is they've literally played patch an offensive lineman in the entire season. But I'll tell you what, the last 3 weeks they've got some camaraderie on the offensive line, and that certainly makes a difference.
They've also been able to open up the run by using the pass. Before they tried to run the ball, they're not a good running team. With 2 stud running backs, they're still not a very good running team.
Let's just win the Natty. That's an argument.
And yet they've opened it
up. There's no reason you have 2 NFL running backs and you're popping off at like 3.3 a carry.
Yeah,
it's like it doesn't make any sense.
For Notre Dame, you look at them and they got Leonard Moore, who's going to play outside, who's a freshman. Kid has been really good. Took over for Benjamin Morrison, who's going to probably be a 3rd-round pick in this draft. But for them, really what you're going to watch them do is on offense, the only way they're going to do this and beat Ohio State on offense, I don't expect them to score more than 20 points in this game, is you're going to have to keep that back in and make it look like protection and do exactly what Texas did and let that back leak out, where you're going to have to use your backs basically, hey, we're going to make it look like you're blocking, you're going to leak out, and then we're going to have to dump it off. Riley Leonard's going to have to make that. He's going to have to account for that 11th guy on the blitz. He's going to have to account for a lot of things. He's going to try to run the ball. He'll make plays. Buckeyes played 1 running quarterback. I think it was Marshall's quarterback. He did okay, but that was a totally different Buckeyes defense. Now, the weird thing about this is Notre Dame in their history has the 3rd year of a new head coach being one of their biggest years. Holtz in 88, Devine in 77, Parsegian in 66, and Lee in 43. Those are the years they win titles. Going back, trying anything here.
This is like the bald. This is like the what was it? Sean Payton's 32-6 against bald coaches in October when the sun's shining from the east.
When that heat hits your head on that bald cap, it's struggle. But this is a big year as far as Notre Dame head coaches go. And this is 2 head coaches that, earlier this year, both fan bases wanted fired.
I like Marcus Freeman.
After Marcus Freeman lost to Northern Illinois, which I cheered so hard for Northern Illinois in that game.
Northern Illinois left the MAC.
Did they?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
Just after they're leaving the MAC.
Where are they going?
I don't know.
This is
greener pastures, I guess. But it's sick because Northern Illinois has been a dominant MAC team.
Yeah, they're a fun MAC team. I feel like they're always really good in the Detroit Bowl.
But you know what? You would think that they would go to like the ACC or like something, but they'll probably be like the fucking Pac-2 or something. You know what it is? They'll like, we're going to let you play on a West Coast conference.
We need anybody over here in the Pac-2. Just come on over. Party. It'll be a good time. Now, I know I'm pulling out all kinds of random shit to give Notre Dame a chance, and I think Notre Dame has a decent chance of this because no team scores more non-offensive points than Notre Dame. But if we're really looking at this and we want to give Notre Dame a chance, I'm going to get even more crazy than what I just did. Think about this. Do you remember there was a big national championship game about 22 years ago on January 3rd, 2003, Drew.
I remember this
where
game.
a dominant offensive team, the best skill position players in all of college football,
And
they
defense.
match, and defense, NFL Hall of Famers on both
Everywhere.
sides of the ball.
Everywhere.
They faced a scrappy team with a quarterback who could run the ball when needed, made a play every now and then. They had one really decent wide receiver they could get it to. They had a scrappy defense who did a lot of things, but they had good running back. Multiple running backs actually on that team. That was a Jim Tressel coach team. This is a Jim Tressel disciple. Jim Tressel's given the speech before the game for Notre Dame, actually. Given a speech before the game, allegedly. I don't know how true that is. I've heard it, random things. Is this a situation where the Buckeyes, who were that team in 2003 and beat the big bad Miami Hurricanes, are they now in danger of falling prey to that scrappy team in Notre Dame? Well, stay tuned because we're not giving our game pick just yet. We'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, they may be. They may be.
Listen, I tried to find a way to really make it more interesting than it was, but we'll find out.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the effort. You were like arguing, like you knew you were wrong, but you're like arguing still. You're just like, damn it.
I'm giving him a chance.
I said no cheese, and they're like, sir, we have you on camera saying cheeseburger.
I love cheese. I would never say no cheese.
All right, well,
it was one thing you will never hear out of my mouth. Unless it's blue cheese. I hate blue cheese and feta.
Oh, no, I don't like blue cheese either. It was just an example, sir. It was just an example.
Listen, we could go on for hours on cheese. I'm a big cheese guy over here. Listen,
I enjoy cheeses as well.
You don't get the body of Slimer from Ghostbusters by not eating a lot of cheese. Let's move on to the NFL. NFL Divisional Round playoffs. All 8 starting quarterbacks were selected in the top 2 rounds of the draft. 2 of them were number 1 picks. 6 are starting for the team that drafted them. The other 2, the number 1 picks, well, they were traded for each other. We got an interesting divisional round. Starting out on Saturday, 4:30. This is the ESPN ABC game. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on the call. The 4th-seeded Texans, 11-7, they head to KC to face on the Chiefs, who haven't done anything in like a month. They've had basically a month off. 15-2. Texans with a chance to advance to their first ever conference championship game. The Chiefs can become the second team ever to make 7 straight. Drew, what do you think goes on in this game?
I mean, it's to your point. It's crazy that honestly, it's crazy the Chiefs have obtained this record. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, the Chiefs are going to lose, but it's not going to be this week. Also, what was that Texans team we saw last week? The Texans team we've seen the last 4 weeks before that was not that team that we saw last week.
Not at all.
So I don't even know what the Texans are, right? Like when Stephon Diggs went down, that offense became different and C.J. Stroud became different. I know Nico Collins was also out at the time, but C.J. Stroud has not been the same quarterback. Mm-hmm. But last week he looked better. He looked efficient. So it's like, I don't know what Texans team. I don't think this is the team that's going to be able to get over the hump with the Chiefs, but they're not making the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Chiefs, they're 15-2, but they haven't seemed like they've won a lot of really close games. They just kind of win. They look like they coasted through the regular season. Now, are they going to be able to turn it on after taking 3 weeks off? What are we expecting from them? It's going to be hard to say. We'll do our game picks in a little bit. Chiefs 0-2 in 4 p.m. games. Starters haven't played in 3 weeks. Who's starting at left tackle? Is Joe Thuney staying outside? We don't know. But they're going to have to face Hunter and Anderson, who got 23.5 sacks combined. We don't know which Chiefs team's shown up. We don't know which Texans team has shown up. It's going to be interesting. Very interesting. Moving on to Saturday night. Big game. This is a Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady game. Tom Brady there just to... Tom Brady's definitely in this game. He's going to, be talking up your offensive coordinator a little bit. Hopefully we don't get boring Tom from last week, who was putting me the fuck to sleep. We need more of Tom being Tom. This is two teams.
I'd rather have cracked out Tony Romo just screen. It's gonna be a screen. It's gonna be a double screen. It's gonna be a reverse. It's like, all right, Tom.
You mean Tony Romo, who said, "Yeah, that's gonna be an offside. That's gonna be 5 yards. That's a 5-yard penalty." Like, bro, anybody watching this knows that. Thanks, Tony. The Commies coming into Detroit 13-5 on the season. They are the 6th seed, facing the number 1 seeded Lions 15-2. Lions scoring 33 28.2 points per game. The Commies scoring 28.5 points per game. This is their first. They're in their first playoff games after last week since 2005.
Yeah,
Lions
good for
struggle
them too.
against
Like
QBs.
I respect that for Washington fans.
Yep.
I know what it's like.
Both head coaches, 667 win percentage in the postseason. Lions getting Monty back, 775 yards on the season, 12 touchdowns. This is the number 6 rush offense in the league, facing the number 30 rush defense in the league. Two teams who don't punt a lot. Drew, what are you thinking happens in this game? What are you expecting?
Well, listen, I mean, what I was just saying, Washington's had a hell of a year, and Jaden Daniels is fantastic. In the Detroit Lions, they struggle with mobile quarterbacks. I mean, as most teams do. Everybody's like, "Oh, the Lions struggle with mobile quarterback." So does everybody. Nobody's like containing Lamar Jackson. Show me that team that's doing that. Like, yeah, it's tough. But you get David Montgomery back, which I think's big. Jahmyr Gibbs, by the way, we haven't been here in a while. Just let me sit on my soapbox for just a second. Jahmyr Gibbs just took over the league, didn't he? Didn't he? Is that not what he just did? Like, you had David Montgomery go down, and Jahmyr Gibbs just went absolutely insane. And you kind of knew that's what if you watch the Lions, you kind of knew Jahmyr Gibbs had that. But David Montgomery, we need what he does as well. Like, this can't just be a handed off to Jahmyr Gibbs the entire time. What David Montgomery does is get in between the tackles. He gets vertical. He's very balanced. We need him back. And he's also one of the hard pieces of the team. He's the heartbeat, right? Like, that's really big to have him back. And for me, it's a real uphill battle for the Commanders. I don't know. Where are you at with this game?
This game, I think this is going to be a really, really good game overall.
I hope.
The thing is, the Commanders, they don't necessarily run the ball very efficiently. And Jaden Daniels doesn't necessarily need to run to be effective. He just needs the threat of him running, because when he breaks out of the pocket or steps up and they think he's going to run, someone comes open. And they can control the ball, long extended drives. They didn't punt 3 times this season. They've gone a game without punting. So if you can get that, which is usually on DraftKings, a punt, it's probably going to be under 7. Try to get that. Two teams who can ball control, who aren't going to turn the ball over. This game, it's got a high total. You can see it going way under that. There's not going to be a lot of possessions possibly if both these teams are going. Hard to say. But Jaden Daniels is dead cold as he looked last week in Tampa Bay. Totally different going in the Dome this week. That crowd is going to be electric. It's been the number 1 fan advantage in the NFL the last 2 postseasons. I expect to be even crazier this week. Jared Goff, just do your job. Monty coming back, big deal. I am worried about that knee, though. I mean, that was a knee that it sounded way more serious than what it's become, and he's rehabbed and all.
Buddy, we'll worry about it in 4 weeks. We'll worry about it in 5 weeks. We're not worried.
We'll hold it up. I know he got the special stuff in his knee. I know they were in there at halftime. Lance Harper was trying to tell him no, but he said, just give it to me, coach. Just give it to me.
He play. He play.
That's all they said. This is going to be a fun game. And hopefully, I know who you're taking. I'll tell you who I'm taking a little bit when we get to our game picks. Let's move on to Sunday on NBC and probably on the cock as well. This is a 3 p.m. kickoff. 4-seeded Rams, 11-7, led by Matt Stafford, head into Philadelphia, home of the angry fan who got so much against him right now for some of the stuff he said. We'll talk. We might have to talk about that here in a second.
That guy sucks.
Yeah, I agree, but I got other thoughts on it. The Eagles, 15-3, they won last week in a game where they didn't throw outside. They basically played the Penn State type game, but won. Both these teams have 4 championships. Week 12, Philadelphia won 37-20, 255 yards of rushing, 2 70-yard touchdowns for Saquon. But this
is my book I'm reading. This is my book I'm reading on the sideline.
On your pissing excellence or whatever it was, AJ Brown. That book went to number 1.
By the way, this is Ohio e-check. I had to get my car e-checked. That's what
you passed. Everything's good over there.
Everything seems to be good.
Dude, I keep forgetting I got to do that. Like I got a month and all, but I keep forgetting to do it.
You always have like one of those dashboard lights on. You're like, God damn it. They're not going to. It's always for me, like my car has like a gas cap issue.
Yeah.
Like, in every year I got to spend like $70 to take it for them to turn the gas cap thing off. Every year. It's kind of like a tradition, I guess you could say. I'm sorry.
Chrysler product?
Move on. It's a Nissan.
Okay.
I do have
great
Chrysler, but yeah.
I was gonna say if it's Chrysler product, that happened every time I had a Dodge Dart. That every time I would go to get the e-check, they'd be like, "Oh, you need a new gas cap." I was like, "What the hell?"
And I'm like, "Dude, it's just a gas cap." And they're like, "Well, we cannot pass you, sir." And I'm like, "God, okay, this sucks." All right.
So you said that, and I was thinking it was a Chrysler product. Then you tell me it's a Nissan. I got to go get mine. I'm also currently driving a Nissan, which I have to take for its first e-check. So fantastic news here. But back to football.
Sorry.
I don't even know what we're talking about. Oh, let's go to the fan. This dude saying all kinds of horrible shit to a Packers fan. Mm-hmm. Now, I have some thoughts on this. Allegedly, he was provoked. Okay. Allegedly, there was a back and forth, but dude went too far, whether he's provoked or not.
Provoked?
At the same time, dude.
How provoked? Like, that's very provoked.
To say the things he was saying, he was pushing.
He's extremely provoked.
I mean, there were some words like, I don't even say to my ex-wife, and she's kind of a couple of those words
you
sometimes.
Do.
But anyway.
Breath. You do.
I mean, anyway. Don't need us canceled here. But anyway. True. If someone's saying that to the missus, and I understand, more than likely, in this situation, if you're rocking a Lions thing and you're in Chicago and a Bears fan is saying that, are you going to keep recording it or eventually you're going to do something? And more than likely, all the other Bears fans are going to jump in. You're going to get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
But you got to do more than just record it, right?
So here's the
deal. As a dude.
If Lions fans are acting like that, I'm going to say, like, we're adults. Like there is good like back and forth banter with fans. I'll tell you what, I actually had one of my best back and forth banters was when I went to the Guardians Tigers game 2 of the wild card or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like we were bantering back and forth and we were having a good time, right? Like that's what it's supposed to be like. But like you can't just start doing stuff like what was it? The guy was out of control.
100%.
Of course it was, and then it's like, oh, it's Philly, and it's like, and Philly really will never be able to get out of the allegations that they're bad fans.
I mean, and you're up in the like whatever the 500 sections is. I mean, whatever the section actually is. I mean, it looked like you were up high, but at the same time, like the third time he said the see you next Tuesday to the missus, like I'm choking the dude. And I know that Philly fans are going to jump in. I'm probably going to get my ass kicked. I haven't lost a fight in a while. I'm due. But at the same time, like, stop the recording. And I know you wanted to go viral, and this dude apparently is a content maker. But shit. Enough.
The fact he lost his job, though, and I'm not, you know me, I'm the anti-cancel culture kind of person. Yeah. Fuck that guy. He just
but people find, like, the craziest thing about the internet is they found his kids, like his wife, like they got his kids' social security numbers, taking out credit cards.
It's dangerous.
Dude, think about the shit you're doing. I don't care. That dude didn't seem too inebriated unless
this happened with the Lions. Like this happened like with the Lions though. Like one of the wives of the Vikings said that like she was touched or something at the Lions game, and everybody's saying, "Oh, Lions people are scumbags." I've been to those games. Nobody's doing any of that. I feel like, and I'm not saying that she's falsely allegating something, but I'm like, people at our games like, hey, your team sucks. Like that is what, and when they score, they're like, oh, great, fuck your team. Like that's banter. That is banter at NFL games. That's banter on my couch when I'm watching football with you on a Sunday. Like it's just the way it is.
And there's 75,000 people in a building. You're going to find a decent percentage of fucking assholes.
Exactly.
No matter where you go.
100%.
Bro. Speaking of that, are we rooting against the Eagles now?
I'm rooting against the Eagles. However, I'm not supposed to pick the game right now. Here's what I'll say. I think Jalen Hurts is a fraud. I've said it.
Mm-hmm.
I know it seems crazy. I don't think that he's a quarterback that's going to win a Super Bowl. I don't mean that. I just don't want when it comes down to throwing the football, I just don't know what it's going to be. When you face a front or a team that can stop you running the football,
Mm-hmm.
it just seems like he's going to be in a tougher position. Listen, that's a good football team over there. I honestly I see the AJ Brown stuff. Like the one thing I'll say is Amon-Ra St. Brown, our guys aren't doing that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying our team's better than their team, right? Like it's a football game, anybody can win, but like I don't like that kind of shit. And it's wide receiver shit. It's been T.O. Remember T.O. T.O. would be out and on the sidelines, dude. But like it's like I see that and I don't love that chemistry. But I think everyone thinks that the Rams are this hot pick and that they're coming in here hot, and I agree with that. But I also think that the Eagles as a whole are really good, and I'm even though my Jalen Hurts may be, Brad Johnson in this Super Bowl, like you know what I mean. He may be somebody that just go out there and does what he needs to do and Saquon feast, but I'm not buying it.
Dude, Jalen Hurts was amazing as a passer in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, and I feel like he's just regressed. Like, I don't know if the league caught up to him or if something happened, but if you make them throw the ball 35, 40 times, you're probably going to beat the
Do you
Philadelphia
think that
Eagles.
it could be like just like guys in his ear wanting the ball? Like when
Could
you're
be.
not just free and saying, hey, we're staying here. And like, I'll be honest, like I feel like they are. AJ Brown's a super good wide receiver, and maybe they're not using him to his potential, but he's also a guy that teams know that they have to double cover at times. So that helps you out as a quarterback.
Wouldn't be surprised to see AJ Brown move to possibly New England in the offseason.
I've
We'll
seen that.
talk more about that. I mean, it makes sense. Mike Vrabel was sad to see him go before. Anyway, moving on to the final game of the weekend in the NFL. It is the CBS game, the Romo Nance Sunday 6:30 game. The third seed Ravens 13-5 at the number 2 Bills 14-4. The Bills are underdogs at home for the first time in playoff history. Josh Allen 28 touchdowns, 6 picks. James Cook 16 touchdowns. Lamar 41 touchdowns, 4 picks. King Henry 16 touchdowns. Two teams kind of mirror each other in the way they want to do things. Quarterbacks who can run, they can pass. They got running backs who obviously can find the end zone. Wide receiver weapons, kind of both sides. Zay Flowers doesn't play, could change things. Decent tight ends, defenses who can show up sometimes, and other times they make you go, what the hell are they good at? This is a game that is very crucial to a lot of sports books for the Bills to win because a ton of money coming in on the Ravens. What do you think about this game, Drew?
Yeah, I mean, here we are again. I feel like these teams are the teams that the juggernauts that we've seen in the AFC for the last few years. For me, it's like, when is it going to be Buffalo, right?
Yep.
When is it going to be Buffalo? And I think this is the year. Excuse me, to your point, they're very similar offensively. They want to run the football. However, receiver-wise, I like what Buffalo has a little bit more. It's tough because their offense has been up and down completely as far as the Ravens goes. When it comes with the wide receivers getting involved in the game, it's been a lot of run heavy. But when we come to this game, you're going to have to throw the football. I think Josh Allen's better at that. I think Amari Cooper gets involved more than he has. Amari Cooper's kind of just been a pawn out there at most of the parts since he's gone over to Buffalo. So
I'll let you talk a little bit more about this game. I'll be right back.
Yeah. I mean, again, the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, when are they going to get over the hump? Are they going to get over the hump? You think this year with adding Derrick Henry, and we've seen how dominant he's been, you think with adding Derrick Henry, this is going to be their year. But it always seems like these were going to be the two teams that matched up just because I take that back. Coming into the season, coming into the season, there were questions with Buffalo. I do remember this now. There were questions with the wide receiver position. Is James Cook that real RB1, if you will? And I think certainly James Cook showing that he's the running back one on that team. He's been fantastic. And the wide receivers, they've spread the ball around. Shakir's been great. They of course they trade for Amari Cooper. Keon Coleman does get injured, but I think Keon Coleman's a very interesting player for Buffalo. It's interesting because again they have so many weapons. Curtis Samuel, they have interesting ways to move the football, but then again at the same time, James Cook will just pound the ball down teams' throats as well.
Yeah, this one should be a good game. A lot of people expect this to be the game of the weekend. We'll see. We shall see. Should be an interesting one. Thank you for that. I almost pissed my pants over here on the show. That would have been terrible.
I don't want that. I don't want that.
Little overly hydrated over here, drinking a lot of the water. But yeah. All right, let's get in our game picks.
My camera seems to be freaking out.
Whoa, my eyes are really bad. Now Drew disappeared. We're going to get into our game picks here in just a second. If we can see clearly through the lens. So coming up first, we're going to pick the national championship game. This is a big game. Obviously, it's a national championship game. But you look at these two teams who couldn't be further apart in how they do things. The Buckeyes, skilled position players, excellent. Top of the NCAA. You look at what Notre Dame has. They've got skill position players. Their running backs, really good. Jeremiah Love might be the best running back in this game. But they have not faced a team like the Ohio State Buckeyes. The Buckeyes have faced a team similar to Notre Dame in what Nebraska did to them and what Michigan did to them, but it's different this time because the Buckeyes have been through it. The Buckeyes know what to expect now, and hopefully, Ryan Day doesn't fall into the trap of trying to show Lou Holtz or anyone how tough they are. Hopefully, they go into this game and say, this is what we do. This is what we know we're good at. They go in and say, we know what we're good at. Drew's back, thankfully.
Sorry.
We're not going to let you determine what we do. We're not going to try to show you up and say we can do this just because you don't think we can. It's not going to be Lou Holtz getting one over on Ryan Day. And for the Notre Dame fans who think that because came down to the last play of the game last year, that you have a chance this year, remember, that was Syracuse quarterback Kyle McCord handing off to Toledo running back Chip Trainum to win that game. This is Will Howard, who's been vastly superior to what Kyle McCord was last year. This is Quinshawn Judkins. This is Travion Henderson. This is a super freshman, a cold killer on the outside, Jeremiah Smith. This should be a Buckeyes 34-17 victory. Drew, who do you think wins this game?
Yeah, I agree. I just want to know where Lou Holtz is right now.
Lou Holtz is flying in to South Bend right now.
Remember when Ryan Day
he's got a bum hip?
Where's Lou Holtz at? He says some shit about my team. It's like, bro,
exactly.
He's in the nursing home. Like, we got to relax a little bit.
You know, Notre Dame. I'm not even going to try. I can't do a good Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz.
I like the Buckeyes. I do like the Buckeyes. The spread though is questionable.
Yeah. The fact that I actually knew that Lou Holtz was flying in tells you I've been a little too into this game in the media email. Nope, flying in. He's got a bum leg or bum hip or something, which you expect at 214 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's old as shit. This should be a Buckeyes victory, but I could see there is a slight chance that I could see Ryan Day falling into the trap.
I hope
again.
After the game he's like, "Where's Lou Holtz? Where's he at? I'm gonna go up to his."
Lou Holtz with a walker just walks up to him and smacks him with it. Celebrity deathmatch style. Things get crazy. Let's go into the NFL. It's the Texans and the Chiefs. I don't even know what the spread is on this game. You happen to know the spread?
Yeah, I'll get it for you right now. Give me 1 second. Freddie, by the way. Freddie came through again.
Oh, yeah? I didn't even see his. I missed it.
Yeah.
You guys don't need to know about Freddie. Leave Freddie for us.
Texans and the Chiefs. Spread is -8 Kansas City.
Huh. I like Texans to cover that. I like Chiefs to win.
I'll be honest, betting-wise, I hate a lot of these numbers. Like
Yeah.
the 8's an awkward number. Like
I also feel like this could be, if the Chiefs do get ahead, let's say 27-14, I can see the Texans scoring a late touchdown covering this.
yeah, and I
This is a
think that
backdoor cover type situation.
I think with Mixon, like a moment to appreciate Joe Mixon's years. Joe Mixon, when he's played, has been really, really good. I think
100%.
he's probably like one of the more underrated players, like as far as his production this year that people don't talk about. But I think that Kansas City has a little more firepower to get this done. Again, I don't think they're advancing the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to get it done this week. But I'm not covering taking that spread at all. This is gross.
I'm with you. Commies and Lions. What's the spread on that one?
9.5. It's gross spread again.
The total's still around 55. It was a high total last time.
55.5. Yeah, 55.5. Give me the Lions. I'm Ward's wagers this week's going to be like, hey, hope everybody's family has a good weekend. It's like I'm not touching 9.5 either.
Yeah, I don't like that one either. I think I don't even like the total on it. I can see this being a 24-20 game because I think
it's a playoff game.
Will be limited.
It's a playoff game too. Like everybody, you have these glorified lines. It's a playoff game. You run the football. It's going to be a slower game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and both teams can dominate the football at the time of possession. We could see 4 possessions the entire first half. The way these teams work wouldn't surprise me. Now I doubt that happens, but it could happen. Rams, Eagles. Spread on this one?
Philly minus 6.5. So a touchdown.
I will take the Rams outright in this one.
I'll take the Rams plus the points. I like the Eagles to win a close one.
Yeah, this game could be super fun to watch or super boring as shit, depending on which Rams offense shows up. And that defense, man. I don't think that
what
defense
happened to Cooper Kupp, dude?
Him and Matt had I don't know, maybe I got nothing. I was going to make something.
Puka's going for 14 catches and 200 yards every game.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp's getting 1 catch for 4 yards. What?
Cooper Kupp's been a great blocker, though. He's out there trying. He's getting a participation trophy right now, running 7.5 miles.
Getting the Caucasian award.
Stats.
Getting the Caucasian award. We appreciate you.
Staff's like, you know what? No more white dudes. I'm only throwing a little oos over there, and that's how it's going to be.
Puka is kind of white, right? I'm not sure how that.
He's an oos. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's a Samoan dude of some sort.
All right, he's B'nai Sewell. Yeah,
I mean, we're making stuff up here. We don't.
All right, we'll move on.
Ancestry DNA with us. Bills underdogs. They still a point? Is it still a point on their side?
Yeah. Yep. It's a 1 point. It's basically a pick 'em.
I'll let you go first on this one.
Give me the Bills, dude. If not this year, I mean, then when? There's times where, again, if you can stop Baltimore running the ball a little bit, I have more faith in if you stop the Bills running it a little bit and Josh Allen throwing the football than I do Lamar Jackson, and that's just the way I feel.
But if not now, when with the Ravens? Both these guys.
That's why I guess
teams,
that's fair. Yeah.
So close. Is Josh Allen the MVP? Is Lamar Jackson the MVP? These teams, such similarities. And one of these guys is going to lose this game. And then we're going to hear, can he get it done? Can he get it done? Let's calm down. Both these dudes are still pretty young. They're both really freaking good. And Lamar, for as much as, some people said, oh, he's a running back, for 41 and 4.
Lamar's
just insane. 4,800 yards. Video game numbers for that guy. I want the Bills. I really do. And it depends if the Ravens go in there and try to not run the ball again. I'm going to take the Bills just because I can't take the Ratbirds. I can't do it.
I need to convince you, it seems. I mean, that's a divisional rival.
I hate the Ratbirds. I hate the Ravens more than any other team.
And everybody likes the Bills. Anybody have anything bad to say about the Bills?
No, and their fans are fantastic.
Everybody wants Bills Lions. Let's just make it happen.
Yeah.
NFL.
Hey, Bills Lions. That was my Super Bowl pick at the beginning of the year. Let's go for it. Let's keep it up. That's why I got to take the Bills. I forgot about
that shit.
No, I said it on this show like an idiot, and then didn't bet it.
Could have bought like 500 to 1 odds or something.
Yeah. Could have put $1 on and won some money, but that's probably what I would have done. I'd be like, you know what? I don't think this will actually happen because I'm a moron. Anyway, let's get into the most important part of the show. Awards wagers 2-2 the last time we were here. 164, 104, and 5 over the past 3 seasons. That is making you money there. What do you got for us?
So I'm gonna take the Bills money line, as discussed. The Bills money line, and I'm also gonna take the Texans +8. Texans +8. Those are. I only got 2 plays, dude. We're running out of football, which makes me sad. It does make me sad. But as long as the Lions
we only got like 8
playing.
games left.
Yeah,
it sucks. Football
goes too fast, man.
We'll get into more draft stuff as the weeks go by here. We'll start rebuilding teams. We'll figure other things out for the show. Starting Monday, we will have a daily podcast. It'll be about 15 minutes. You can find it anywhere you get your podcasts. And if you've already subscribed to our podcast, it'll be there. That'll be fun for the show. Follow us on TikTok at FCFS Pod. Make sure you like and subscribe to this, our YouTube channel, which seems we do the live show. We get a few watchers here and there. We don't get enough likes. We need to boost that up a little bit. So if you're watching, give us a like, give us a subscribe. You subscribe to us, we'll subscribe to you. You scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. Any pot or any
pot?
No, I kind of
I don't know what you need, man. Just let me know what you got going on.
We're turning into the end of the McAfee show. If you listen today, they were talking about AJ Hawk giving out edibles that were anywhere between 2 and 44 milligrams. He's like, I don't know, just take it. Like, that's fantastic. And then Chuck Pagano talking about how he loves his edibles, up the dosage a little bit, sleeps like a baby, knee doesn't hurt. I'm like, what am I listening to right now? When did this turn into this?
Times have changed, dude. Times have changed.
What Chuck I was trying to say, any props, player props that you like this weekend? Before we get out of
here. I like Dave Montgomery over 14.5 receiving yards.
Okay.
And Isaiah Pacheco over 36.5 rushing yards. I also like Xavier Worthy over 49.5 receiving yards.
Okay. I like that. And Pacheco has been over 75 scrimmage yards in all 7 of his playoff games. And if you can bet player props for the NCAA, for college football, which we can't in Ohio because it's stupid.
Sure.
Over 14.5 attempts for Riley Leonard. He's led Notre Dame in rushing attempts every game. And under 37.5 rushing yards, because I do expect the Buckeyes to sack him at least 5 times. And remember, in college football, sacks take away from that. So
that's some good knowledge there, young man.
There.
Yeah, impressive. I like that.
We got to throw out some random things every now and then, and we can't even bet them. But if you get that option, because I was able to see the numbers.
I didn't even know that sacks were negative.
Yeah. If you get a sack,
because I can't bet it. I can't bet this shit. Dude, I would be so pissed.
Do you know how
I was I'm like, what did I bet? Like, I got it. Oh. See?
He's got 36 rushing yards. He gets sacked, and he's got 32, and you were over 35.5. Yeah, that would absolutely suck. So it's something to look forward to. Also, Pat Mahomes, if you want another player prop, I think his rushing attempts, last time I looked, this was yesterday, was over 4.5. Remember, in the NFL, kneel downs also count. So say they're leading that game, toward the end of the game, 3 kneel downs plus 2 random scrambles to get you over that.
Kneel downs or rushes?
Yeah.
All right, dude.
Which I just learned because I bet Lamar Jackson prop, and that got me over the one time.
Well, I need to. You got my brain kind of busted here. I need to get back in the lab. I don't know.
Listen, I got all kinds of random facts. We pulled all kinds of random shit out. We're back. We'll see you again next week. Anything else you want to get off your chest before we get out of here?
Hey, thank you, Freddie Mills.
You're the man, Freddie.
Thank you, Fred.
And remember, as always, if you live the life you love the life you live. Night, kids.